Hello, my name is William Bohall. I'm your third party, non-traditional independent candidate for office of president, 2016. I'm here to talk to you about a new direction this country needs to take with industrial expansion, economic, and national security issues relevant to that undertaking. I want to bring to your attention several decades of corruption that I need to address to Congress involving corporations, individuals, and businesses that have not been able to present to the courts. In fact, in Montgomery 2010, I was denied access to the court to present 9 federal lawsuits with multiple defendants and antitrust lawsuit issues, which is something that the Attorney General is supposed to take up under USC laws. The Department of Justice has failed this citizen, the courts have failed this citizen, denied me my ability to establish public record and testimony on the defendants, which would also supplement commerce trade in other areas such as my screenplays on a story titled Blasphemy of a Nation, which is my story of a struggle that I have undertaken since childhood to establish life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness here in the United States, and how I've applied myself to the music industry, television industry, and to the commerce markets, such as the Anglehead toothbrush with Johnson & Johnson Incorporated. In 1974, I established that idea as well as the concept for the space shuttle. And I have never been compensated from use of my Anglehead toothbrush design or in any other facet of undertaking that I've undergone. This has also affected my ability to establish research and development on my prototype design I created at age 4 in 1964. It's an airfoil which can be applied in a universal crossover manner for land, air, sea, and space. New industry can affect the stranglehold that current industry has on the labor market and the labor wages. It will also open up jobs and a new tax base for the United States. We need to address the environmental issues that the past century in the industrial grid has caused this nation and the world by establishing a new port infrastructure. This is a major undertaking, and I tried to inform this nation in 1978 about this issue, and I have been ignored. Now, if it continues beyond this election, because of U.S. patent laws, the limitations on that laws, which is currently underway, this will force a public domain issue. And there are patent and copyright conflicts because I have got prior copyrights on research notes and screenplays in which I attempted to utilize the concepts in a manner that will educate the public. So I had to get copyrights before I was able to get patent application established, which I pursued before I got the copyrights and was not able to get legal representation, nor did I have the financial means to establish this. So there's copyright and patent law conflicts is keeping progress from getting established. In addition, I need to address Congress about censorship for the media, which is affecting elections, that it did in 1995-96 election campaign in which I attempted to apply myself and did not have access to media in the state of Michigan. Local, state, newsprint, radio, TV, it didn't. And that is taking place currently here in the state of Alabama, in Opelika and Auburn area, Columbus, Georgia area. This has to stop. And I've addressed this with my representatives, Mike Rogers, Mike Hubbard at the state level, Sessions, and no one's gotten involved in the last 17 years. It started with my representative in Bob Riley after moving here to Alabama. My representatives in Michigan neglected representation on this issue. Bill Clinton rejected or neglected a 10-page letter that I sent to him informing him about corruption in the need for investigation and also for industrial objectives. Hillary Clinton did not respond to a letter sent to her in 2011 and 2012. And this is the type of representation that has been continuous over several decades. America needs to know about these people and about this representation because there's a failure in the justice system, there's a failure in the legislation system and executive office. They have failed to represent a U.S. citizen in upholding constitutional rights of that citizen. This is a major concern. If this nation doesn't want to advance, then this technology, which offers new hope and a higher level of application than what is currently taking place by the standards of land, sea, and air transportation. For the issue of naval applications, what you see behind me is an archaic design for recreational boating. It can offer surface to subsurface naval recreational opportunities, as well expand on fishing, deep water fishing, which will lead to the need for new legislation for limitation on fishing, because that will affect the environment for ocean mammals, whales, and other species that must survive on the food chain. But with my design, I also can offer a ship that will help clean up the ocean of debris. It's a cumulative problem that isn't going to be changed overnight, but it is a problem that's equal to a war, and you need to address this. With the failure of at least two branches of government to uphold a citizen's constitutional rights and their oath to office, you need to reconsider your support for the Democrats and Republicans and stop financially supporting those agendas. You need to start thinking in a different manner, in a different direction. How about supporting the third-party, non-traditional, independent platform? An attachment to your current vehicle, which will allow it flight capabilities. There's a need for new infrastructure within the city and communities. What are you going to do with the overhead power grid, your telephone poles? We need to reconsider major infrastructure change to allow for new expansion in industrial objectives and evolution in transportation. Now, my design is a safer design. As you can see, it can be damaged dramatically by any means, on board, bombs, land to air, air to air. How are you and your military going to contend with something that can turn 90 degrees or 180 degrees on axis? As a drone, how are you going to contend with something that can carry over 14 times its own mass weight and still, and at low altitude, and still be able to defend your nation? 12 of these could take out all your dams and electrical grid. No Boeing aircraft or McDonnell Douglas aircraft can carry 14 times its own mass weight. In a sense, it's kind of like stating you expect an aircraft to carry 13 times, stacking 13 identical aircraft on top of each other and expecting that aircraft to fly. It won't happen. But with this design, many things can happen. It can require detachable units, which will allow recovery of passenger and cargo in deep water crash scenarios. It can withstand heavy winds on a commercial basis. It will expand NASA operations with detachable units, reentry aircraft, spacecraft units, as a space station. These things I foresee, and as a president and a leader, I can take charge of federal funding on these issues. I can lead NASA in a new direction that will be more cost effective. Al Gore established a new space station, which is a limited use space station. And in a few years, it's going to have to fall in decay and all your money gone. Your investment's gone. And what did they accomplish? It's just a hotel right now for 3 or 4 astronauts. Nothing's being established. With the establishment of new industry, this can become a cost-effective measure. God forbid that another World War took place, but in the prior World War II, industry had to shut down to establish for a military refit. New industry with a commercial application of this would never have to shut down, because each unit can be easily adopted into a military offensive and defensive weapons grade component. You don't know what you're about to lose because of your current patent laws. I need to address these laws with Congress now. No presidential candidate has brought up these topics. No presidential candidate is going to deal with these topics, and they haven't since 1978. America needs to wake up. You need to be informed. Censorship must be addressed. And federal funding must be redirected. I am the person with the objective and the opportunity to make this happen. If it doesn't get established here in the United States, then it has to somewhere else. Who do you want to have this technology? Germany, Russia, China? Who else? Middle East? They got the money to invest into it. I have protected this at all costs for 5 decades, at great suffrage. What presidential candidate since 1978 or ever can show 5 decades of suffrage and sacrifice? What other presidential candidate has something to offer this nation other than words? So let's work together. Come November, address this issue at the polls. Make sure the third-party independent is on your ballots in every state. Address this with the Department of Justice and with Congress directly. It's a great issue that's taking place in this nation, and it involves your leadership at state and federal levels. And it's a threat to this nation. It's been a constant threat to me. It's hindered my life and my ability to move forward. And by God, it's got to be addressed one way or another. My name is William Bohall, third-party independent candidate for office of president. I hope you'll support me. I haven't even heard a presidential candidate speak about agriculture issues or commercial factory animal farming. Legislation needs to be addressed on this issue. If you want this type of technology and what it has to offer, you need to reconsider your support for the party agendas that you have supported in the past. Come over to the third party, non-traditional independent cause, and let's move this country forward. Your choice. And I can add wings to it to make you feel more comfortable, but why? I'm not going to go into detail of the technical applications and all the manners in which I foresee the application of this technology. A basic paper airplane prototype, a working model, gives you enough information. I will also in this note that I've attempted to get support from federal agencies such as the National Science Foundation, NASA, and Department of Defense, and many others, Ford Foundation, and I've been rejected because they did not understand this technology. I'm ready to do work with Auburn University, the graphics arts department, and I have been since 2012. Even before then, I approached them to get their interest in this research in the wind tunnel and drag tank test with the aerospace department. With the graphics arts department, they could give me a 3D computer presentation, which I can use to promote investment and educational opportunities. But there's an issue there with Auburn University, just like many other colleges. Johnson & Johnson has got investment into that university. That's a threat to this technology, and any other student that comes up with new designs in architecture or any other relevant class, their future stands a threat, just as mine was and is. I want you to know this. Think about what's happening to this country and people like myself who are born into low-income families and who have been applying themselves since childhood to get out of poverty and hardship, and who is constantly being forced to remain in that situation. Thank you for your time.